In this third video in the tutorial series of how to consume a WCF service from a Windows Phone 7 application, I will demonstrate how to consume the information received from the WCF service. Okay, so then how are we going to consume this bank account information that comes from the service? Well, I'm just gonna paste some little code over here again just to create like a little form that we will use that object and bind its properties to like a little form in which I'm going to display that information. So I'm just going to paste that right here. In here what I have is just again two columns, a couple of three rows in which I'm going to display the account number, the customer name, and the balance. I have a couple of text blocks in which I have bound the properties of a bank account object that I received from the service, and I'm binding the account number, the customer name, and the balance to those appropriate text blocks so that I can show that information when I receive it. I've called this grid a bank account grid. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to receive the information from the service, append it to or actually assign it to the bank account grid's data context object so that I can access these properties through binding. So it should be something fairly easy. So instead of just creating a result, I'm not going to do this here anymore. I just wanted to make sure that we were getting the right information. So what I'm going to do is, since I already named the grid, I'm going to call it bank account grid dot data context equals e dot result. What this will do is actually receive the bank account object, assign it to the data context, and I will be able to access the properties through binding like I showed you. In this case, I'm not going to use a debug. I'm not going to debug into this. I'm just going to run it real quick. I think it should work. So why don't we try it? Let's take your first pin. I'll just run it. It should be able to deploy the application and show me this information. So in the username, I'm going to type just something. I'm going to say Roman, and the password will be whatever. I don't care. Remember, we're not performing any validation of any kind. So by clicking Get Bank Account Info, it will go to the service, send this information, and bring back a bank account info, and will populate these fields under here. So clicking Get Bank Account Info, should go to the service, it will come back, and as you can see, we received the information into these fields. We received the bank account number as a GUID. Well, it doesn't fit there, but it's okay. The customer name, we received the customer name that we said that we hard coded on the service, and the balance of $250. Now that we know how to receive information from a WCF service, now why don't we also act upon this data and see if we can edit it right here? Well, what we're going to do now, we're just going to add a button down here that we will be able we should be able to edit the balance that is actually the service, and we're going to receive the information back, and when we should be able to see the updated balance on this application. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that button. So I'm going to stop the application. I'm just going to leave the emulator where it is. Instead, I'm going to add another row. I'm just going to add an additional row. And to this additional row, what I'm going to do is just add that button. So I'm going to create a button. I'm going to call it whatever, get deposit funds. And into this row, actually, since I have two columns, I have an additional row. I'm going to add the deposit funds on one side. So I'm going to say the content, I'm going to set it to deposit. I'm going to say grid dot column, well, it's actually on the first column. I'm just going to say grid dot row 3 so that it just adds it there. It's going to add it there, and then I'm going to add a text box, and I'm going to call it let's say deposit amount, and I'm gonna put it in the row 3 but in column 1 so that it shows on the other side. Okay, so I have the deposit amount text box, I have the button called deposit, And by clicking on this deposit, what I will do, I will send that information, I will edit the balance, and I will also like update the current information that I have on the local, or already like that it has already been consumed, the bank account information. So what can I do? I will handle I will execute the deposit funds operation, asynchronous operation that is exposed through the service, and send the balance that I am going to input through this field, through this text box. So I'm going to double click on deposit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say proxy dot deposit funds async, which requires the account number and the double account. Okay, in order to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold a private instance of the bank account that I just received. So I'm going to say bank account, and it's going to create just a bank account from the service, the proxy that it created, all those classes that it created. So I'm going to pull that type from there. So I'm going to call it current bank account. When I receive my the result, I'm actually going to assign it to this. I'm going to assign it to this current bank account object, so I can refer to it later. Then probably maybe what I could do is just either I can just assign it to the data context as well, so that way I can assign it to both of them at the same time, and then I can have access to this current bank account later on. So the deposit funds async, I'm going to say current bank account dot account number. I'm just going to send the account number right back, and the double amount, let's say we have $250 on our account and you want to add $100 more, let's say. So I'm just going to send $100 more. That's it. So in the completed event of the deposit funds completed, I should be able to get the new balance, that new balance that the new balance that has been updated by the user. Again, the data context that has been added to the bank account grid is actually this object, current bank account. So if I do this, current bank account dot balance equals e dot result should be the balance that gets received, the updated balance. And then what I want to do, I want to update the current balance that is on my that is already displaying, and maybe I can also show like a message box saying the updated balance is, and then I'm going to show the value, current account dot balance. Let's take a look if this works. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here, I'm going to put a breakpoint here and a breakpoint here. This when I perform the asynchronous call, this when I receive the information required. So I will execute, I will run the application again, it will deploy to the emulator, and then I will see what happens. Again, we're just going to start from the beginning. We're going to send some information. I'm going to send my name, the password. I can just type anything, and I'm going to say give back account info, and I should be able to receive this information. Now deposit, I need to provide the, let's say, whatever I want to pass. In this case, I already passed the hard-coded value here of 100. I just wanted to test it, so here I'm just going to click deposit, and it's going to pass 100. We could have just done then deposit amount and then whatever amount we pass. Let's just do it as a test. I just wanted to see what it does. So after we perform this, we press at 5 to go to the next one. The result is 350. It assigns it to the current bank account. The current bank account that it has 350. It shows me a message, and it should be able to update the balance, and there we go, 350. That was the updated balance. So that was exactly what the expected result was. So I'm gonna stop it, and I'm going to recap again. So what I'm going to do here is just overwrite this. I'm gonna say deposit amount dot text, but it actually is not going to be as a text. It's actually going to be as a double. So I'm going to convert this as a double. So I'm going to say convert dot to double, and I'm going to pass the deposit amount dot text. whatever amount I pass there, then it will convert it to a double, and it will be sent to the service. So now, since the bank account grid, the data context of the bank account grid is actually the object that I have over here, it's currently bound to that. So any changes that occur in this current bank account object, because it's bound to the bank account grid, all the changes will be reflected there because we're performing binding. And the binding by default is one way, so whatever happens on the source, it affects the target, which is the grid. So now I'm just gonna run this. I'm just gonna run it straight with no breakpoints. I'm gonna do it again, but from I'm gonna do it from the emulator. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna say Roman. I'm gonna pass a password, whatever. If I say get back account info, I get my information. It's 250. Now in this case, I'm gonna put as a deposit. I'm gonna deposit 250. Remember, because since I'm inputting something into this field, it actually gets inputted as text, so that gets converted into a double and then sent to the service. The service updates my current balance, and then it comes back with the updated value, which I immediately update the current account info that I'm holding locally. We probably maybe later we save that back or something, but as at least for this, we should be able to illustrate our example. So I hit deposit. The updated balance is 500 as expected. I click OK, and then the balance gets updated right away on my account. So I hope you guys have understood enough on how to communicate from a WCF service in a Windows Phone 7 application. I hope this has been very instructional for you, and you can just view this video as many times as you want if you want to understand more, or if you have more questions about this, you can just drop us an email, dearcoders@gmail.com, or here you can just place a comment, and we can just try to get to those as soon as we can. Thank you very much, and have a great day.